That's why they're the biggest loser in free agency, because they should be the best team in the AFC, and they're not.
Let's get started.
So we're like 2 days into the new league year. Obviously, it started on Monday, but it's like the official free agency started. And a lot's happened. Geno Smith is a Raider. DK Metcalf is a Steeler. Joey Bosa went to the Bills. Khalil Mack re-signed. Chris Godwin re-signed.
Sam Darnold's a Seahawk.
There's a lot of stuff that happened. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Viking. That's the thought. He's going to be a Viking. That's the hope, honestly, for his legacy arc. I think it'd be hilarious. But with the offseason kind of already being like 4 days in, we kind of like all the big names and the teams that were going to make moves have made moves. The rest of the stuff's kind of filler. I think this is kind of a good time to talk about the biggest winners and losers from free agency so far.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and start off. My winner would be the Minnesota Vikings. I think they corrected whatever small issues they had on their offensive line. So they brought in some better players there. They cut Bradbury and got in a much better center now. They added a little bit to the defense. They got Isaiah Rodgers. They re-signed, wasn't Cam Bynum. It was blanking on who they re-signed, but they re-signed one of their corners. Cam Bynum went to the Colts. But all in all, as Byron Murphy, that's who they re-signed. All in all, they nailed it with their free agency. They brought in good talent. They look like the only team in the NFC as of right now that can compete with the Eagles, maybe Washington. But their biggest issue is, can J.J. McCarthy carry the weight that Jaden Daniels did last season to lead them to the promised land potentially? I don't know. That's why it might come up to the drug lord Aaron Rodgers if he gets signed.
Aaron Rodgers.
All right. So mine, my biggest winner, I think it's going to be the Chicago Bears. Chicago, that was their big thing going into last year, was that they got a ton of weapons going into last year. And they had zero time to protect their quarterback, their big star, number one overall quarterback, right? So we're going into this next season. We're going to see them with a decent offensive line. They got 2 guards and a nice center. So and then also kind of beefed up their trenches too on the defensive side as well with Grady Jarrett. So they have a lot of good pickups in the trenches this year. So we're going to see what Caleb Williams can kind of do with this team that they kind of built around him. And honestly, now they have Ben Johnson, like this offensive mind, crazy good head. Obviously, this is first time head coach, but crazy good offensive coordinator in the past. So we're going to see what Chicago can really do going into this next year now. But that's where they really, really needed to beef up is their trenches. And that's exactly what they needed to do. So they're going to be my biggest winner so far.
Yeah, I think Chicago did a great job of putting the pieces around Caleb to really succeed. I feel like a lot of NFL teams, they struggle putting the right tools with their QB1. So you never know if he's going to be good or not. But I think they've addressed the offensive line. They've addressed the defensive line. The year before that, they got him weapons. They drafted Rome Odunze. They have everything they need now. They're in a prime position to do whatever they want at 10. If they want to go running back, because we know DeAndre Swift's not all that. But they did a great job. My biggest winner, though, is Washington. I think Washington really took the next step into going from an NFC championship to potentially going to a Super Bowl. I still don't think they're the best team in the NFC, but getting Deebo Samuel for what they got for was nothing. They got Tunsil for some day 2, day 3 draft picks, but that's going to give Jaden Daniels what they lacked. Because, yeah, they got 55 or 50 hung on them against the Eagles, but their defense wasn't really the problem a lot last year. They had issues when they played better teams. They couldn't score because there just wasn't enough offensive firepower, and the offensive line was not good enough for other teams that were built for the playoffs. You can go look at their record against teams that were above 500. It wasn't pretty. Mm-hmm. They were competitive, but there were things that were lacking. Now there's another receiver side, Terry McLaurin, that can go be a gadget. He can line up in the backfield. He can take a slant to the house. You put Deebo on a diet. He's going to be a menace. Like his ability, the yards after the catch is what he's known for. You put another element and another crinkle into a Cliff Kingsbury offense. You're going to protect your blind side now for your quarterback. He's going to have more time to look down the field. I think they did a great job. What they're doing is they're doing what is going to fit in the current window. They can afford to have Tunsil. They can afford to have Debo. They can afford to pay guys because they have a quarterback on a rookie contract.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with Chicago. Chicago sees and believes in Caleb Williams. And now into year 2, they've put everything around him to succeed. Now they're going to, 1, they're going to most likely succeed. 2, they're going to know if Caleb's legit because there's no more excuses. He's going to have Ben Johnson. He's going to have a way better offensive line. His defense is better, and he has plenty of weapons. So they're a really good team. What Minnesota did was great too. I think Minnesota really set things up for J.J. McCarthy or whoever's going to be QB1 going into next year. But I think if you look at everything, it's going to be I think the Commanders, my favorite team.
The Jets, dude. Justin Fields. They're going to get on the Justin Fields experience. So he's going to have his little moment where it's like, oh, wow, you're an NFL franchise quarterback. And it's like, oh, wow, you're terrible. So that'll be a fun, wild ride for them.
I'm curious on how that's going to turn out. I think we've seen Justin Fields play a lot and like start a lot of games, and he's had some good games, but he's also had some bad ones too. You know what I mean? So I think he was pretty good for Pittsburgh, but going into New York, I don't know how it's going to be. I'm curious to see how it'll turn out.
Pittsburgh feels like a very safe, like controlled environment where, like they, who was it that got them to the playoffs a year ago? Wasn't Mason Rudolph? Was it?
Mason Rudolph started some games, but I think that was like 2023.
Or it's whoever Tennessee's current backup was because Pickett got hurt.
It was Mason Rudolph.
That he started the playoff game against Buffalo. But so that's what I mean. Pittsburgh's a pretty safe, controlled environment. But other winners, New England's obviously a winner. Carolina's a winner. Chicago, big winner. Anyone else that you guys think? Denver's a huge winner.
Yeah, I was about to say Denver. Denver got some guys from the Niners. Greenlaw is a huge addition for them. Their defense last year was pretty solid. Obviously, they had PS2. They had a good secondary. I think their linebacking core definitely needed to get beefed up, and Greenlaw is, when he's on the Niners, you know what I mean? Like Greenlaw could be almost middle linebacker 1 anywhere else in the league, you know what I mean? Minus a couple teams. Yeah. So Greenlaw going to the Broncos is going to be huge for their defense. And then they went out there and got Hufanga too, all-pro safety. Obviously, he's been banged up over the last year and a half or so. So it's going to be kind of curious to see how that turns out. I'm sad to see him go from the Niners, but I think Denver's making some huge strides, honestly, and I think they're going to be even better, obviously, this next year than they were last year. Because last year they were honestly surprisingly better than I thought they were going to be.
Definitely.
I thought they were going to be decent, but Bo Nix and the Broncos went out there and showed some teams that I didn't really expect them to beat, that they're forced to be reckoned with already. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think Denver. I think the AFC West is kind of open for the first time.
Finally.
I don't think the Chiefs run is over, but I definitely think
I don't think it's over.
I definitely think.
I wish.
I definitely think there is some opportunity for other teams to be competitive in that division for a potential chance at winning it. Just
not the Chargers.
Well, the Chargers are a joke.
Yeah,
but what Denver was able to do is they did a lot. I'm excited to see what they do in the draft. I'm sad that they took some Niners, but I think if those guys can stay healthy, their defense can take the next step.
And to stay on this half, just all positivity. Obviously, Browns front office, big winner. Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Oh yeah, man! They re-signed Myles Garrett for $40 million a year. That's a steal. And then they brought a Super Bowl winning quarterback in to go play on offense. Dude, that's shout out the Browns. Shout out the Browns.
I could run the Browns so much better than their GM. I mean, it's good for the fans though that they get to keep Myles Garrett, because when you have a franchise altering player like that, and then they pay me or trade me, it's kind of tough because it's like, well, we're kind of in purgatory on how good we are. We gave Deshaun Watson the worst contract in NFL history. Screw it. Let's give Myles Garrett some money and hope Kenny Pickett can turn it around, or they could draft someone. But all in all, they're in a pretty, for lack of a better term, cooked situation. But at least the fans, could keep wearing those 95 jerseys to their games. But man, did they screw over the Bengals so bad.
Yeah.
Bro finds any way to squeeze the Bengals
Yeah,
into a combo.
This guy loves Cincinnati.
I love Cincinnati and Buffalo and Lamar. Those are like
Lamar!
my big three.
Yeah, Lamar. So obviously, like the winners are pretty exciting. That's the fun part of free agency. The losers, though, the teams that did absolutely nothing. Dallas. Who's your guys' biggest?
Dude, Jerry made big moves. He
Oh, yeah,
got them
dude.
their long snapper back.
dude,
Yeah,
he
no,
got Javonte Williams.
I guess I'll start because that is my pick. It's the Dallas Cowboys. Every single year, they do absolutely nothing in free agency.
They paid Dak last year,
Oh, awesome. See how well that's working out for them.
and they paid CeeDee Lamb, right?
Maybe.
I think they did pay
The
CeeDee
same
Lamb.
class?
Sure, but
think so. It's
their
same
big
class as
signing
Higgins.
this year is washed ass Javonte Williams. So it's just like, is that going to move the needle for you? No, it's not going to at all. Like their team was borderline terrible this last year. Obviously they had some injuries and stuff, but like even before Dak got hurt, it was not going well for them. And signing Javonte Williams is not going to fix that. So
What are you
it's
talking about? Yeah, Will.
It's the missing piece.
dude, no, it's not. Like I had that guy in fantasy. That guy stinks. But I'm just saying, like, it's every year for the Cowboys.
Talk about
They-
teams in purgatory.
Yeah, they do not want to spend money for whatever reason. They just lock down their, they obviously lock down CD and they lock down Dak. Good for them. But the rest of their team is just nothing. They have nothing else to talk about other than Micah Parsons on the defensive side. But it's just Javonte Williams is your big signing. Like, that's awesome. Good job, guys.
Well, you think so? Micah's been in Egypt with like a bunch of other guys. I saw it on Bleacher Report. So they're out there fooling around and stuff. You think he saw Myles Garrett got that money? He's in Egypt, sitting nice, probably drinking some wine, just having a great time. He sees that. You think that fool texted Jerry Jones? It's like, my price just went up.
100%.
Because it did.
Yeah, that's what happens when you don't pay your players.
He's going to get traded, dude. It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
Dude, he's an Eagle. The writing is
An
on the
Eagle?
wall. That man's gonna go to Philly. He's
Disgusting.
100% gonna go be an Eagle in
All
like
right.
2 years.
Anyways, so what's your biggest loser?
My biggest loser is, sadly, my second fandom, my home away from home, the Cincinnati
My
Bengals.
home away from home, the jungle.
the team that being stuck at like 9-8 all year last year brought me fantasy greatness. Dude, they should have paid everybody last year. I could sit here and go over how the whole change in the rating system being graded is increasing the salary cap significantly, but no one wants to hear the technical talk. But the truth is, like, you got to pay those guys sooner. And, Derek hates when I do this, but I'm going to reference baseball. Baseball, some teams will go out and they'll pay their stars early. They'll buy out their arbitration years, and it totally pans out because you save yourself so much money doing that. And the Bengals, guess what? Jamar Chase, his price just went up to $41 million now. T. Higgins is probably going to be a $30+ million receiver. Trey Hendrickson led the league in sacks last year. He wants a bunch of money, as he deserves. Oh, his passer rate's not that good. I don't care, bro. He's getting to the quarterback and put him on his ass.
You need to get off
They need
Twitter.
to pay- I know I do.
You need to go get off Twitter.
I know I do. But it's true. He led the league in sacks, and he wants to get paid like a guy who leads the league in sacks. And guess what, Cincinnati?
He's had a whole argument by himself.
You have to pay.
He played
Bro, we don't even need to be here, dude.
both sides of the argument.
Yeah,
He's
they-
debating himself.
They have to pay all three of these guys. And you know what's going to happen, guys? Take a guess before I answer the question for myself.
No, just go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Only Jamar is going to get paid. But guess what? Joe Burrow is so damn good. Jamar Chase is so damn good. Those sons of bitches are somehow going to be in the playoff picture every year. And in 5 years from now, we're going to be like, oh, only if the Bengals get in, they could beat the Chiefs. Because that's the truth. While they're putting out like 7th round picks to start on defense that wouldn't be on anyone else's roster. That's why they're the biggest loser in free agency, because they should be the best team in the AFC, and they're not. Oh, thank God New England invested in their defense. Drake May, you won't have this problem, buddy. Your receivers suck, but that's a different story.
Dude. You want to just go? Just go get dinner or something.
Dude, I'd
It needs
kill
to
it
be
on a
in the
solo
D,
show.
dude. It's just
Be 8 takes.
it's just 8 takes.
We played 2 sides. You call it 2 side takes. When you go on the other side of the table.
Who's your biggest loser, Derek?
The Texas in general.
Texas.
The state of
The
Texas.
state of Texas, bro.
I agree. I don't think Arch Manning's going to be all that either.
Don't talk about my goat. Welcome. I think Houston completely dropped the ball with opportunities. I think when you look at what Washington did and what all these other teams are doing with guys that are on rookie contracts, you should be pushing and going all in. And it feels like Houston did nothing except they traded for a left guard that's cool. And they traded their left tackle, their cornerstone player on the offensive line. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I get that there are some things like you go on Twitter and you see like the fan base like, oh, like he has false starts, oh, this and that. He's still better than half the tackles in the NFL.
Agreed.
And you didn't really get much for him. You got a haul. Cool. You got like a third, a fourth, and a sixth. Not a haul. A haul is first round, second round, like day one talent. Things that we know they're gonna hit. Things that like a what's it called? Like a coach GM could pick.
Yep.
You got draft picks that are like cool, but like they're not really like, I don't see the value that they got for Tunsil.
Mhm.
And when you already look at what CJ Stroud, the biggest issue, like, yeah, he had some bad plays, but a lot of it was him just like, there's no time for him to throw. There's no time for plays to develop. And they just did nothing. And the offensive line just got worse. And then when you look at it, like Tank Dell's not going to play football next year unless it's a miracle. Like he's not going to play next year. Stephon Diggs is probably not going to resign next year. He's in a window where he wants to get paid, but 2, he wants to win. He's not going to win in Houston. So he's probably not coming back. So all you did this offseason, when there was a bunch of offensive tackles, there was a bunch of guards, there was some decent wide receivers on the market.
There's a lot of movement.
Like there's a lot of stuff that you could have done. You just took a step back, it feels like. You spent no money, you didn't do much. And it
the
just
only like
sucks.
big acquisition they got is they got Gardner Johnson on their defense.
Yeah, they traded for CJ Garner Johnson, who I hate that guy.
Yeah.
Like
I hope he wears that swear when they played the Chiefs.
Like, I'm not a fan of Garner Johnson, so I didn't really love the move. Like, he's not a bad safety, but like, that's all you did.
He's just a locker room cancer.
You brought
Funny one though.
You brought Garner Johnson onto the team. Oh man, you're so lucky you play in the AFC South.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, no, I mean, they play in the AFC.
Anthony Richardson's
They
you're
play,
so lucky in the division that you play in.
they play in the AFC South, so they're probably still going to make the playoffs.
They're gonna win their division.
They're going to be losing a wild card.
But
game.
I just think like you look at what Chicago did, you look at what Washington did, and you just saw Houston. They didn't do anything. It's like, dude, like this is the time to invest and to go push the chips. Like CJ Stroud was a borderline top 5 quarterback his rookie year. He was going crazy, and then he took a step back. But if you still believe that he's a top 10 guy, like I think all of us believe that he's a very good
he
quarterback.
can definitely be there. Yeah.
And you're in a division and you're in the AFC with other teams that are already really good. Like you're not in the NFC. Like you're playing against Joe Burrow, Lamar, Mahomes. Like you're in it. And they had the Chiefs last year. I biased. Like they had opportunities. Their
That
defense
game-
kept them in the game.
that was a
And then
good
guess
game.
who fell apart?
Yeah.
The offensive line
Offensive
fell
line.
apart. And what did you do this offseason?
Made it worse.
You didn't do anything for him.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest loser.
The whole state of Texas.
They're gonna try to
Yeah.
retool.
Texas in general, except for the Longhorns.
Big gotta retool for sure. It's their plan. Speaking of Houston, not only are they gonna have to pay CJ Stroud, they're gonna have to pay Will Anderson Jr.
Mm-hmm.
So don't think he's gonna not cost a bajillion
Yeah, Will
dollars.
Anderson's
to-
price gone up. You're not going to
Yeah.
pay him for like 2 years, but still, there's things that they can be thinking of and like, cool, we got to do this now. Because in 2 years, I'm going to have to pay more than likely my edge rusher $35+ million.
Gosh, that's
And then you're going to have to pay your quarterback $50 million plus. So, like, just build the team to just try to win right now because the odds aren't in your favor.
I mean, you guys have any other like honorable mentions you kind of want to talk about? I think we should probably talk about LA too, because LA's kind of in the similar boat. Like,
which
where they?
one?
I mean, the Chargers.
The Rams have done great. I think
Yeah,
the
the Rams have had a good offseason. I'm talking about
Can't believe they cut
the Chargers.
Yeah,
the Chargers are kind of in the similar boat as the Texans, where they are almost there. Like they're almost there. Like they kind of have certain pieces, but like you're not moving the board at all in free agency, and you guys have money. Like you have money to spend, and you're
Yeah,
not doing
they
anything.
had the money and they have the draft capital. Like they could have signed the DK contract and got Justin Herbert. I was gonna say Fields. Could have got Herbert some help.
Yeah.
But
DK's just better. He's just a better Joshua Palmer though, because he's not a good route technician.
I mean, the key word though is better.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't need to be a route technician. He just needs to be someone that they can throw the ball to when nothing else works.
Yeah.
Like he
jump
needs
ball guy.
he
Just a
needs,
good
like-
go-to target.
Yeah, like he needs
Yeah,
a
he's
he needs
better
he needs a security blanket. He needs someone that he can throw the ball over the middle and you're gonna get lit up right now.
Yeah, because I
But,
mean,
like I
you
need you to catch
like,
this.
They saw McConkey, like
he's
McConkey.
awesome.
McConkey's been cool, but like he's been kind of like that quicker kind of like
He's in the slot.
route
He
type.
plays
Yeah,
the
he's-
slot. He's not gonna go outside.
Yeah, no, he's a slot type of guy. So if they went out and got somebody like DK, then they kind of have their slot guy. They have their big, up the seam, like jump ball type of receiver. Like that would have been a huge acquisition, and they just didn't do anything.
They definitely played a cheaper route. Like they went
Yeah.
with Najee Harris, who honestly I don't think Najee Harris is that bad.
I
I don't think he's terrible.
don't think he's a terrible back or anything, but like,
I
is
think
he really going to be that much better for their run game compared to what they had last year? No.
I don't know what the draft strategy is, but you definitely could have took one of these rookies coming up in the class, and I think you could get pretty solid production from him. I think you could. Hampton might fall into that range. There's Caleb Johnson. There's a lot of talent in the running back class is deep.
Yeah.
Johnson's gonna fall because of his 40 speed.
So they
He's
could
good
have
back.
done that. I mean, they got Mike Williams, but I just think with the Chargers,
That's right, they did bring him
they
back.
brought Mike Williams back, so they do have an X receiver, someone.
That's true.
But I don't know. I was really excited to see what the Chargers could do with the money, and realizing that they'd fall short so much in the postseason, like in the wild cards. Like they're a good team. Justin Herbert is a borderline top 5 guy, but they're just, I don't know. I feel like they kind of dropped the ball.
They'll probably draft Colston Loveland from Michigan in the first round, and then they'll get Donovan Edwards in the 7th, so that way he doesn't fall into the undrafted free agency territory. But I don't know. Chargers are just a weird team. They have too damn good of a quarterback not to be investing into him, and luckily they have him under contract. And you'll get these talking heads at like ESPN to be like, "Oh, he needs to demand a trade." Like he's not going to demand.
There
a
he is
trade.
again,
Debating with himself.
debating with himself.
But
You just sit in the mirror
Chargers
and
are
you just like rebuttal yourself.
the Chargers just are.
He practices on the way here in the
Practice on
car.
the way here. The Chargers.
With Sabrina Carpenter.
Yes.
Big fan. I'll see you at the crypto arena. But
Were you talking to Sabrina? Who
Yeah.
you talking to?
I'm gonna pull Travis Kelsey, put my phone number on a little friendship bracelet, and throw it on stage. Got to work on my arm strength though. Just
Hit that shit from the top deck.
So do you have a loser?
I just talked. I just said the Chargers, and I
Oh,
talked
yeah,
about the
that's right.
Cowboys. Yeah.
You're right.
Um.
I was dumbfounded with this clown. Another team that really upset me, honestly, and I'll make it quick, was the Packers.
Nick Hobbs isn't bad.
Yeah, but they overpaid for Aaron Banks, and there was a lot of wide receiver. Like there wasn't a lot, but they could have got DK. They could have made a better offer for Chris Godwin. Like there were some guys in free agency that they could have definitely used to take their offense, and they dropped the ball.
I mean, back to Godwin. I think if Godwin didn't take New England's money, he wasn't going to take anyone else's money.
I mean, yeah, but still, when you just look at what Green Bay is,
Bunch of
and they put
threes and twos.
477 into Aaron Banks.
well, let's have fun and say Nate Hobbs got the 477 and Banks got whatever Hobbs got.
Still, they put okay, sure, we can play that fun game, but I feel like they could have definitely put more stocking into what I think is their biggest problem, and it's wide receiver, and they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
The DK Metcalf trade they could have done, and they could have paid him.
Yeah.
And it would have solved an immediate issue. It would have taken them to a way more serious type of offense.
I'm
I would
just
like- I
not
like
sold on DK like you guys are. I don't think he's as good as you guys think he is.
I mean, we see him.
I see him 2 times a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Shavarius
good.
Ward owns his ass.
Davius Ward is a very good cornerback.
He is, but he also owns this guy. I don't think your number one wide receiver should be owned Jamar Chase ain't owned. AJ Brown ain't owned.
Darius Slay
CD
owns
Lamb,
Jettas. You want to go talk about that game? With Jettas got put
You
in
guys
the box.
lost though.
Why you say y'all? That's not my team.
Why am I totally just missed. I was just thinking like, yeah, but I was just so ready to argue back. But the
Bro's
Niners still
debating-
lost though.
Bro's still debating with himself.
What are you talking about?
Bro's
I'm
hearing
still-
voices.
I'm still doing the Bengals argument in my head right now.
Yeah, I don't think the Packers were total winners or total losers, but I was disappointed with what they didn't do.
You know what's crazy thinking them? I'm surprised they haven't cut Jair yet.
I don't think they're gonna cut him at this point.
He's kind of a head case.
Yeah, he is.
He's just hurt. They probably want to trade him. They probably want to get something for him. Because you can spin a narrative that when he's healthy,
He's a damn good player.
he locks him up. It's just, can he stay healthy? You don't want to cut him for nothing. You cut him, bro, he's gonna get picked up quick.
Dude, the Cowboys lost like one of the best slot corners in the NFL too. They lost Jordan Lewis. I don't remember who he signed with. I want to say wasn't Carolina, was it? I mean, they got Bland and Diggs, who were both great, but losing Lewis is bad.
Jordan Lewis went to the.
No, that's Bynum and Ward. I just want to dunk on the Cowboys one more time. They would win the offseason if they put up curtains.
Throw up some blinds in Arlington, dude.
They should. Oh, but we got the beautiful Texas sun coming into the
He went to the
stadium.
Jaguars. That's why I didn't care about
It's not a
it.
bad stadium.
Yeah, but still.
Cut all their receivers though. Who's he gonna he's just gonna throw to Brian Thomas Jr. and then whatever receiver they take in the second or third round. Because Kirk will go fill in the Tank Dell role, and then Evan Ingram. I think he'll be good in Denver. Should be with Nick's throwing him the ball. But you guys got anything else about teams you think did something a little wonky? The Lions didn't. The Lions haven't made any moves.
That's true, yeah.
Kind of surprising.
Lions
They
been kind of quiet.
lost Carlton Davis.
The Niners are cleaning house. We won't go too much into the Niners, but
Yeah,
we're
this'll
going
be an
full
hour long.
rebuild, which is kind of makes me a little sad, but I think it's probably for the best. But yeah, any last takes, Derek?
I don't really have anything else.
All right, cool. Well, I guess that kind of does it. Those are our biggest winners and losers for this 2025 free agency so far. Just keep a lookout for some episodes coming out soon. Just make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And have a good rest of your day.
Ladies and gentlemen.